Now, I finally managed to reclaim Eternity in Marvel Rivals, and I will say for a lot of the time I was solo queuing, until I reached Celestio 2 where I did get some friends of similar skill level to, push to Eternity together. Now, I only really did this because it felt like this season was miserable for solo queue, at least from my personal experience. Now, a lot of the matches were coin flips, and like I always talk about, you can only control yourself, you can't control what your teammates do, how they play the game, and having that one extra 1 or 2 lifelines definitely helps the odds of winning matches. And in today's video, I'm going to be going over all the tips and tricks that help you reach Eternity in the hopes that maybe you can help yourself and improve, try to cut down on the mistakes you're making in matches, and just enjoy Marvel Rivals a lot more. Now, as I am a YouTuber, I gotta ask the YouTuber things. If you're new here or find yourself coming back on the regular and you aren't already subscribed yet, why not? It's completely free and you're coming back anyways. It's literally the best way to help out the channel. But without further ado, I hope you sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Now, this video isn't here to discourage anybody from trying to reach Eternity or even one above all. I'm just going to tell you, if you're newer to Marvel Rivals, it does take a little bit of time and dedication to really reach the higher ranks. And I will say that this game requires about 50% aim and 50% positioning, map knowledge, and the rest of a hero shooter components. But anyways, let's dive into our first tips and tricks. Now look, let's be real for a second. Solo queuing? Definitely not the optimal way to climb. If you're serious about ranking up, do yourself a favor, find a duo, a trio, a quad, or even go out with a full 6 stack. But if you are a hard stuck solo, don't worry, it's not the end of the world for you. Now let's talk about some tips for how to climb out of the lower ranks, or what I usually found is the best strategy. Now when I say lower ranks, I'm talking about anything relatively below diamond, so that's like bronze, silver, gold, and plat. I'm not claiming to be cracked out of my mind or anything, but I do have experience from other, games like Overwatch, Valorant, CSGO, CS2, and I will say that background helps me a lot, especially in understanding how to play duelists efficiently and effectively, and when to flex if needed. And that right there, flexibility, is key. Your ego is probably the biggest thing holding you back from ranking up. The 2 heroes I mainly stuck with this season were Hawkeye and Winter Soldier, both great for fragging out and making plays in solo queue. And in the lower ranks, it's all about you. Now this is from my personal experience, but you want to focus on securing eliminations, staying alive, and capitalizing on every opportunity. Again, in the lower ranks, you don't need a perfect team comp or deep strategy in bronze through about gold. You really need to prioritize focusing on your duels and keeping yourself in the fight. In the lower ranks, like I said, you can get away with a lot of things, especially team compositions, but once you start hitting plat and diamond, the team compositions do start to play a factor in whether you win games or lose them. So that is something to always consider. Now, like I said, Marvel Rivals is a 50-50 game. And what I mean by that, it's going to require 50% aim and 50% game knowledge and game mechanics, positioning, things like that. So with that being said, another tip or trick that really is going to help you in the long run is in fact going to be game sense. It's the simple things like where to position, when to use your ultimate, and how to punish mistakes from playing other games. Now, if you don't have that background knowledge, that's totally fine. Check out some of my other masterclass videos where I break all that down, especially on the positioning video. Now this third tip or trick I think is a pretty big game changer, and that's the pick ban system. Now it's introduced in the rank of gold, which is perfectly fine, I think. Starting at gold and getting people accustomed to it and attuned is perfectly good. Great for the video game. Now, something to definitely understand is that the pick ban system definitely differs from lower ranks to higher ranks. Now, you don't necessarily need to ban quote-unquote meta heroes, although that is always an option. Take, for instance, Hawkeye and Storm, but you should be typically banning the characters that are going to absolutely dominate your team depending on your team's composition. For instance, if you're playing a flyer composition, maybe like Iron Man, Storm, characters like that, then you're probably going to be wanting to ban characters like Hela and even Punisher. You remove Hela, one of the biggest problems that there is for a flyer comp, and you remove Punisher, who's another hit scan hero, and at the same time, you kind of ban Widow in the same way because she loses that team up. Now, I'm not saying Widow players can't play without that team up, but it definitely is an advantage if they have that. So if you're playing this flyer comp, then there's not really a necessity to ban Hawkeye because he's a projectile, not a hit scan hero, so it's a little bit easier to dodge his shots when you're flying around in the air. But if you still find yourself struggling with Hawkeye, instead of banning Hawkeye, I would rather you opt for maybe banning Luna. This in turn nerfs Hawkeye, and you remove one of the strongest strategists in the entire game out of the game. It's a win-win scenario. Although there might still be the freaks that play Hawkeye without the team up, that's perfectly true, but it is definitely one less headache you have to worry about. Now for me, right now in Season 2.5, I think the characters that I'm banning the most have to be Luna Snow
and Storm. Now you might be thinking, in general, Storm isn't a super strong character. Look, the Sharknado can be strong, but there is some pretty obvious counters to it. You have characters like Iron Man with his maximum pulse ultimate ability that literally one-shots Storm. You also have Punisher. If damage boosted or in focus firing the Storm down, you can easily get rid of it. And the list goes on and on. You can sort of see the correlation of what's everything's happening. The biggest reason why we're banning Storm, at least from a higher level perspective, that some lower ranked players might not agree with, is because Storm enables her team. She gives damage boosts to characters that are already decently strong and propels them into even stronger characters. Take for example, if you're running a Storm Punisher's going to be deleting everybody. Same with Hawkeye, Iron Man, any character in the game. Having that extra damage boost is a nice buff. Now this next tip is all about mentality and being strong-minded. Now, as you're climbing the ranks and your skill levels increasing, so is your teammates and enemies, well, hopefully. And with this rise in skill level comes the rise of egos. Now, you'll be seeing DPS players lock their hero instantly and refuse to swap even if they go 0-20. Somehow, they still think they're better than everybody else, and I really don't understand that. And again, this is where mentality comes from. You have to be able to play around these certain type of individuals, because let's be honest, we've all ran into one or at least two, or maybe even more than that. That's why, like I previously stated, it's super beneficial to be able to flex around when the team so desperately needs that, when you have that one individual that's just refusing to swap. Now, another thing, like I always state in all of my other tips and tricks videos, is that you are the only constant you can actually change. You're the only one that can change how well or how bad you play, how you position, where you're looking to use your ultimates, and other things. And because of that, you can't change how your teammates play. You can't change how well they position. You can throw in suggestions, but you can't actually affect what they're going to do. That's why you really just have to focus on yourself and not worry about your teammates when you're playing a match of Marvel Rivals. But anyways, those were my tips that I think you should consider when you're trying to rank up in Marvel Rivals. Now, I'll leave the video with an insane hella match that I had while climbing up to Eternity, so make sure to stick around if you want to see that. If not, I appreciate you stopping by, and make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. It greatly helps out the channel. I hope you have a great and safe day, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Diving back on in 3, 2, 1, last. I have to get out.
Where's that? Mag? Got. I got saved.
Oh shit.
That's it. Let's hold back. We'll wait.
Okay, we need to back up.
Taking a side lock now.
Stack.
Start load up here.
Someone deploying help shark.
Alright, come back.
Help shark.
Get back. Well, that's no good.
Who is more immortal than I? Only 60 seconds left.
Want a portal?
I don't think we have time. We gotta walk up the room and then. No.
Yeah, well, I'm stopping the string anyway. That's until I die.
We need to stop that vehicle.
Stack. Or not stack, or you just walked out.
Revealed. Not a sport.
Oh, I just break that shit out. Go back.
Nice.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, but Hello is currently cracked. Adjusting. Oh, now I'm dead.